2025 board meeting.
Second.
Byers,
Yes.
Cadu Blackwood,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Gordon Ross,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Kimball.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right, so tonight, we're going to start with one of our reports. We're going to start with item 5.1, Student Spotlight Esports Experience, and we're going to turn the time over to LVS Principal Zach Harwood and Dr. Larry Engelbrick. Or maybe just Zach.
Just Zach.
Just Zach, okay.
All right, yes, thank you for inviting us. The LVS Esports team had a really successful year last year, and so we have a couple of students who are going to share a little bit about some of the experiences they had. The first one is Eli, who was an 8th grader with us, and then also Travis, who is a recent graduate, who was part of our very, very successful Rocket League team. So I think are they all up and ready to go?
They are as of right now. Let them know they can unmute their mics and turn on their cameras if they should so choose.
Yeah. We also have Ms. Jennifer Pugsley, who is our esports coach, who wanted to just come and give some support. So I guess maybe to start, Eli, Travis, do you want to take a minute or two and just talk a little bit about what esports meant to you last year or what you're excited about for this coming year? Maybe Travis, go first.
All right, so I'm a former student captain for the LVS Esports team. I've been here pretty much since the beginning of the program. So about fall 2021 was when our program first started. And I'm just going to keep it blunt here. Esports kind of got me through high school. It kept me passing classes. I think a lot of kids really look forward to something like this every semester, you know? And basically, there's a lot of things to do with esports. There's a lot of skills you can learn from it. Like I myself learned a lot of skills about leadership, team management, streaming, video editing, a lot of different various things. Esports was a big part of high school for me. And I think a lot of other kids would feel the same way. Aside from that, as a program, we've had a lot of success. Like I know this last year, we went to the Sunflower State Championship for esports, and we ended up winning the Rocket League Championship. And I think that was something that was very special to all of us. And our program is a consistent playoff contender every single year. And I know I said this already, but it's something the students look forward to. Our players look forward to playing every year. It keeps them motivated, it keeps them hungry. And the students will benefit from something like this.
Awesome, thank you. So Eli, how about you tell us a little bit about your experience with esports? Eli, can you hear me?
My name is Eli May. Oh, wait. Hello, my name is Eli May, and I'm in 8th grade at LVS. Last year was my first esports year. It was amazing because I got to the playoffs twice. Something I have never been able to do in another sport. I like esports because I get to play games with real people. It gave me confidence that I was the first person to make the playoffs in LVS's history. In my old school, they didn't have chat, and they didn't even have chess. or a lot of staff/students that understood my brain. But with LVS, this is Bugley and many others try. Yeah. Chess gives me a chance to really work with my brain. I'm not really athletic or have great hand-eye coordination, but esports really lets me be a part of a team. Hopefully we get more people on the chess team and esports as a whole.
Thank you. So I guess I would turn it over to the,
Thank you.
I was going to say, are there any questions for our young athletes?
Hi, this is Carol. I was just wondering, Eli and Travis, what are your plans for college? Because I do see that what KU, the University of Kansas has an excellent esports program, or to that, something of that nature. Do you have any plans for college to continue this on in your career, perhaps?
I know I do personally. First, I currently plan on going to a community college of sorts, just because tuition is cheaper. I can get a couple years a lot cheaper than I would at a regular university, but KU has a really excellent esports program. They give out really good scholarships. And I know there is a player on our Rocket League team who has a really good scholarship at K-State. Like, he gets a really, really good one, and he's playing varsity for their team now. So there's definitely opportunities to be had with esports in college.
Excellent, thank you.
So this is new for me, and I'm wondering if you can share with me, how big is your team?
Well,
I can jump in. I can jump in as the coach for that. Middle
All
school
right.
is something we offered last year, new, and we had one Rocket League team with 5 different players, which we can have that many, and we had one person playing chess. It was brand new. We had Mario Kart, Rocket League, and Fortnite, and so now there will be a difference this year because it's going to play versus, which means in Play Versus, there's more opportunities to play more games because we've been using Generation Esports. And our goal is to send teams to play for Keisha and in the State League and in Play Versus for the regular season. So our opportunity to continue to grow. So we'll start our recruitment next week and start enrolling kids, and we'll see how many kids come out. But we've had multiple players where we had 25, 30 in the program. We've had 15 in the program.
Okay.
And so it's just an opportunity to grow, especially since there's more opportunities for more games for kids to be involved.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
I don't necessarily have a question, but I think this is such a great program. I first kind of became aware of this when I was up visiting the Troy School District, which is like a teeny tiny school district, but they had it and the kids were super engaged in it. And I know that my own kids spend all of their free time doing this, so might as well use it for something positive. Especially, one of the things that they had said was that there's millions of dollars in scholarships that go unused because people don't realize that it's out there and that the schools don't have the program. So I think it's fantastic that we have it, and I'm looking forward and hoping that we can expand it even further.
All right, well then, we thank you so much for inviting us to come talk about what we've been doing a little bit. These are 2 individuals that we're incredibly proud of, along with the rest of our program. And so we thank you for giving us the opportunity to share a little bit about what we've been doing. All right, thanks.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
All right. So we're going to go back up to the top and move on to item 1.3, executive session. Would someone like to make that motion, please?
I move the Board of Education recess to executive session for the purpose of discussing personal matters of non-elected personnel in order to protect the privacy interests of the individuals to be discussed with Dr. Larry Engelbrook, Deputy Superintendent, Sam Marie Devon, Administrator, Human Resources, and Cindy Frick, Executive Director, Finance, invited to be present, and with the board to return to open session in this room at 6:30 with no action to follow. Should
I second.
Dr.
Point of order. I think that Mr. President, I think the motion in board docs had been updated and revised.
Okay.
So there's a different motion in board docs. Would the maker of the
I don't
motion?
have access right now.
Okay. Would you, I can hand you this so you can read would you be willing to amend your motion?
I move the Board of Education recess to executive session to protect the public interest in negotiating a fair and equitable contract to discuss negotiations pursuant to the exception for employer-employee negotiations under COMA with Dr. Janice Kerr-Swift, Superintendent, Dr. Larry Engelbrook, Deputy Superintendent, and Cindy Frick, Executive Director of Finance, invited to be present, and that the board return to open session in this room in 6:22 with no action to follow.
32.
6:32, sorry.
I second.
Gordon Ross?
Yes.
Jones? Yes. Kimball?
Yes.
Byers?
Yes.
Blackwood?
Yes.
Costello?
Yes.
Franklin?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
we're going to move on in our agenda to the report of the superintendent of schools.
Thank you, President Gordon Ross, and all of the board and all of those who are joining us in person and remote. Well, today we mark day 9 of the school year. We are off and running, and a big shout out to our teachers, our ESP and school teams, our school and district leaders for all the hard work to ensure this strong opening of schools. There we go. I think I'm missing a couple, but that's all right. I was looking for the preschool. It's there somewhere. Okay. This past Tuesday, August 19th, we welcomed preschool students across 4 school locations. It was great to be out at Kennedy Early Childhood Center. Some of our team were at New York Montessori, at Sunflower, and at Woodlawn Elementary Schools. It is a great time as all of our students, our teams, and our families continue to settle into the routines of the school year. I've been able to be out at many of our schools. We have a few more to go, and my goal is to finish the back-to-school tour before Labor Day. So we're narrowing in on that and looking forward to seeing the rest of our teams out and about. Everywhere I go, I'm so impressed with the warmth, the welcome, the good positive feel in the classroom, and that sense of belonging. Our staff members are calling every child by name. They know our students, and that is what matters most. We've already heard our report tonight on esports directly from our LVS students. A big shout out to Principal Zach Harwood, who arranged for that. The update that the board is aware of, and I'm not sure if folks in the community are aware, but Keisha has just sanctioned Kansas high schools to offer esports beginning in 2025. This will happen through Play VS, a national competition platform ensuring fair play, privacy, and eligibility standards. This is a great opportunity for all students, and especially for those who would like to participate beyond traditional athletics and activities. We will look forward, members, to a conversation this evening. There are 2 more critical meetings. Dr. Engelbrecht will be coming to share a little later in the meeting, but there are 2 more integral state meetings that will give us enough information to bring this back to you all in the near future. We are so proud of our students who are already active in esports, though to this time, up to this time, their competitions have been club competitions. They've not been Keisha sanctioned. So this is a big step potentially. Our next steps may include registering teams, identifying sponsors, coaches, training staff, and launching league play. Of course, there are many steps to be taken, but those could be some next steps if the board is willing. The Smart Pass update, we had a few questions from the community, so I went back to research this topic. It turns out that some of our schools have been using this for a little more than a year now, and Billy Mills has just come online, but it is simply a digital hall pass. So we all remember the traditional paper hall passes that you carry down the hallway. This is really a digital version of the same kind of thing, but it replaces the traditional handwritten passes, and the benefit it provides is that we know where our students are in the building, particularly during those times when they've been given permission to temporarily leave the classroom. So in an emergency, we would follow our safety protocols, and this would allow us to quickly account for the location of every student in the building during a critical situation. Our teams report that it also helps to sustain high expectations for students. A student that I happened to see out the other day on a digital hall pass, it actually keeps track of the time that it takes the student to go on their hall pass and come back. So really do appreciate. I've included, and I'll share it out with parents and staff and community, a link to a video if folks would like to learn more about this tool. We are assigning and following up on the AI advisory group. Past president Kelly Jones talked about this a little more than a year ago and gave the charge at that time. We're really excited that during September, our team will be sending out to the world, posting for the public an application process, and we invite students and LPS team members and parents and community members who would have interest in participating to please fill out an application and send that in. I have appointed James Polk and Jake Potter to lead this effort, and we look forward to next steps in the process. And our board members, just as a reminder, President G.R. Gordon Ross and member Ann Costello will also be serving. I'll include a link to more details about the process. We will include that in the update that we send out this week. You may have already heard or know our facilities committee has been working on this, but just as a heads up, if you see something that looks a little different when you're up in the Langston Hughes neighborhood over the weeks of September, yes, it's true. We will have goats on property there, and they will help us with the need we have to remove overgrown vegetation on the Langston Hughes School property. So currently, right now, the district is installing a little fence, and then on Thursday of this week, the goats will arrive at Langston Hughes. They are expected to stay approximately 1 month, and that little fence on the property will move, and the goats will move, and the vegetation will disappear. So isn't that exciting? We know that our students will be delighted to observe the progress of the goats, and I'm really excited if the science teacher or other teachers work it in to a teachable moment, because that's how September will go at Langston Hughes. We wanted to touch base on Parent Square. We're really happy, and thank you to the board for supporting this effort. It was a response to a need that we heard throughout our community from staff and from parents and even from students, is to really focus school and align school communications. If parents are willing to, if they want to, we encourage them to download the app so that then all of your communications are in one place. If you don't do that, it's okay. The communication will still come via email as it has traditionally come. As a district, we continue to provide training for our staff, and I am going to go to repeat training because I want to get better at using the tool. It's really pretty exciting, especially the ability to communicate in real time, two-way with parents without having to use your personal cell phone. It's just really, really nice to help with that piece. Our back-to-school newsletter, we always share the data. Was really proud that we had 18,737 views last week. Within that data, viewers read the message from 21 different countries. Yes, 21 countries, and it had an average reading duration of 5 minutes. So that makes for over 90,000 minutes spent reading the story of Lawrence Public Schools. So we really appreciate that folks are engaging with us. If you haven't seen it yet, I really appreciate Police Chief Rich Lockhart, who joined me last Friday in preparing our back-to-school safety video. It is about 5 minutes long, but I really appreciate if parents are able to take that teachable moment in your home with your child, that that advice of report, don't post. And the chief really asked that we all use the number 911. You don't even have to use the non-emergency number, but if a concern arises, use the 911 number and call in with any concerns as they arise. The chief says it beautifully in this video, but students or anyone who posts threats, that is a very serious offense. So we just want everybody to remember how important it is. If you have a concern, just call it in. Don't post it or don't repost. Coming up on Friday, just a reminder, we appreciate Free State High School football and Free State High School Spirit Squad. They partner with the Lawrence Schools Foundation, and they will host the Fall Sports Jamboree and Hygiene Drive at Free State Football Stadium. So we just encourage everyone, when you head out on Friday, take along extra shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, deodorant, all of the above, and your donations will help to meet the immediate and basic needs of our students and families. We want to ensure that their physical, social, and emotional needs do not stand in the way of their success at school. So just a reminder, our budget hearings are coming up on September 8th. At our next board meeting. Thank you for the opportunity to share this report and for the honor of serving the Lawrence Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Swift. We'll now move on to the report of the president of the board. I just have a few things to share tonight. Since our last board meeting, I was able to participate in our first ESP negotiation meeting of the year on the 14th. On Friday the 15th, I briefly stopped by the LVS Elementary Back to School event at Broken Arrow just to say hello. By all accounts, it looked to be a great success. On the 20th, we had a facilities planning meeting that Shannon will talk about here briefly. Tonight, we have on our agenda to discuss esports. Esports was recently approved by Keisha, and we are excited to start the process of exploring it as an offering for Lawrence Public Schools. Keisha is in the process of holding informal meetings with school districts now to discuss what esports is, what would be required, and to answer any questions. And lastly, I want to share a few thoughts related to the beginning of the school year. I want to start with gratitude. Thank you to our staff, our students, and our families for a strong start across Lawrence Public Schools. I've seen and heard many great things happening in classrooms and buildings throughout the district. I also want to thank those who have shared ideas, questions, and concerns over these first 2 weeks. The opening weeks are a period of adjustment for everyone. Your feedback helps our administrators and educators evaluate what's working, identify where we can fine-tune, and make adjustments where appropriate. As a board, we appreciate you taking the time to send us the feedback, and we appreciate our administrators who ultimately address these issues. I'm proud to share that we began the year with our teaching and learning positions fully covered, a notable milestone we haven't consistently reached in recent years. This is a testament to our human resources team and to the work happening around recruitment, retention, and welcoming back staff. While we are not yet fully staffed in every area, being fully covered is a meaningful progress. We know that sustaining this progress depends on continuing to strengthen staff compensation. We'll keep examining our internal processes and options. We'll also continue to advocate for full state funding for special education, understanding that change at the state level can take time. Finally, enrollment is the single biggest driver of our funding. Tonight, I want to extend an open invitation to our partners at the City of Lawrence and Douglas County. Let's meet and explore policies and practical steps that help attract and retain families in Lawrence, and we hope in USD 497. When our community grows and thrives, our schools do too. Thank you to everyone who is contributing to a positive start. We appreciate your partnership and your patience as we settle into the rhythm of a new school year. So with that, we're going to move on to board committee reports. We do have a retirement, so we'll do that. Yeah, let's do it now.
On behalf of the board, I'd like to congratulate Barbara Jean Hunter and thank her for 8 years of service and dedication to this community and its schools.
Thank you, Bob. So for, at the beginning of board committee reports, I'm going to take privilege as board president. And for my report for ESP negotiations, I'm going to turn the time over to LEA and some ESP staff and invite Amelia Wyckoff and Andrew Albright to come up and share and talk about. Yeah.
Let me make sure it's on, but it should be good. Don't have to get too close to it. It's got a lot of gain. Thanks.
Okay. So I was asked to clarify that ESP stands for Educational Support Professional.
Yes. And I'm here with all these other folks representing the ESPs that are now part of the LEA. We wanted to have several people here to talk to you tonight, but there were open houses happening, and one of the people has several jobs, and so she couldn't get here tonight. But much like you mentioned about in the interest of recruitment and retention and the importance of compensation, I wanted to ask one of our coworkers, there she is, Amy, to come up and just speak for a moment or two, a little bit about what we're concerned about as far as compensation and doing the best we can for the kids. This is Amy Wyckoff.
Okay. All right, thank you so much for allowing me to speak. So I have worked here at the district, started working close to 20 years ago as a para, off and on. There were times I had to find some other work. I'll get back to that. But it's been wonderful. I can't stay away from it either because it's what we do and it's who we are. So I work at Central now, which is a new journey in middle school, and just really exciting to be on the floor, right there next to the children, learning about this generation, learning how they learn, learning how we help them, how we support them in so many different ways. So I'm been just delighted. I love my job as an ESP, as a para, and I know that we all do. And that's why we're here, because we are a special group of people, excuse me, a special part of our community. We are just one part that has to make up this big system, and such a valuable part. So we recognize that we have this wonderful and unique role, and we see the other positions and the importance of what they do as well. But we just don't have enough to make it, is just the bottom line. It's really not any more complicated than that. We just simply do not have enough. Our wages are not high enough to sustain us. Things like, I mean, I don't know how much to get into the details of it, but grocery shopping is a different experience, a totally different experience than just a couple years ago. And we're short. We have just fallen short, and we don't have what it takes to make it. And we are the part of the community that you want to support and compensate and be a part of this mission, because we have the vision. We have the vision for the kids. We have the passion. We have the heart. We have the dedication. There are people here that I've really just met, and I'm so glad to have, because they're from all over the district. They've been here longer than I have, and I'm so impressed by that. I will put a side note that I noticed that some of us that have been able to stay, it's because because of our particular situations, we're able to do this work while perhaps somebody supports us. Because this job is not the one that supports us. It's not enough. And we know that we matter, and we know that we matter. We need to make our budgets work as well. We have a budget as well. And we're not making it. I look forward to my second paycheck so that the first one was just 2 days. Been working since the beginning of August, but just the way things work and being ESPs and it being a 9-month position in my case, I'll be able to get those school clothes for my own children that attend. Haven't been able to do that yet. There's many things that I cannot do, but when I really do come into a situation, I haven't come into a situation, another personal note, but I think it's valid. My car broke down. I knew I had to buy another car. I quit my job, or perhaps I didn't start back at one of the elementary schools I'd worked at the time, because I had to work a different job for several months, saved up all that money, got the car, and then I was able to get back into it. Because we all just want to be a part of a vital community, and we want to be a part of the progress and the dreams and the plan that we all have for education and how to do things right. And I like these changes. It's a new world, esports, goats. That's just looking back at a better way. There are better ways. And we have to do things better here. We can't build and grow and dream and have a vision while the ones that are right there by the children every day, 7:40 in the morning or earlier, are not able to make it. So we can't be standing on something that's not right and still moving forward. So we just want to speak to you today about that progress and just about moving this forward in a real way, not a getting by way. This'll get them by another year, whatnot, but what it looks like when you actually pour back into your community, take care of your community, especially those community members that are here specifically because we just want to be at school in the morning with the kids. And so it's great to be a part of this, and it has to get better. It truly has to get better for us because we truly are not making it. And the numbers would explain that as well. So, but just to know our heart and our purpose, and that this is how we build things, just by moving forward on that which is right. And I'm just trying to take those steps to make it better, fulfilling promises that were made to us. several years ago. We need to move towards that. We had commitments, and we want to continue to work and negotiate to make that happen, to have the living wage that we deserve because we love the children. So thank you so much on behalf of LEA, all of us. I appreciate this time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So with that, we will continue with board committee reports. So I'll start down here with Bob. I'll just ask each member if you have a committee report. If you don't have a committee report, I'll circle back for board commentary. So Bob, we'll start with you.
Yeah. The only committee that I've had would be our last negotiations meeting, and that is in progress, and I think we're moving along.
I don't have anything this.
Okay. Ann?
Yep. So just to touch briefly, there's no policy on tonight's agenda to be approved or for first or second read, but we did meet and walk through the latest KASB recommendations for changes and then prioritize them for future work. And then the Schools Foundation attended that meeting. They have a committee working on LEAP, so adjusting the forms to make them a little bit easier to fill out, but also looking how to better engage with our businesses and enhance the membership for our partners. And then we got a little bit of an update on the expo, which was on the 9th of August, which was fantastic. Last year they had 41 businesses partnered there. This year there were 65. The line was constant all day. Over 900 pairs of shoes were given away. Went through 1,000 hot dogs. So got a lot of donations from great community partners that we're very thankful for. The KU Spirit Squad came along with Big J and Baby J. So it was just a fantastic event. And kudos to Dina and Jamie and Michelle for the hard work that they've done. This is only the second year, and it gets better and better. And then lastly, we got a report from the breakfast committee, who is hard at work planning the breakfast. It is on September 26th at the Birds Union. Tickets are on sale, and sponsorships are still available for any community partners that are looking to get involved. And that's all.
Thank you. Anne very well covered the policy committee meeting we had, so I'm going to just talk about our facilities committee meeting. GR and I attended on August 20th. We had an informational presentation from city staff and consultants on the 9Del 2 NRA request. That is a project over in East Lawrence near the 9Del Lofts. It would be another phase of that. That is going to likely come before the board. I think they're aiming for sometime in September, depending on if they can get all of their information prepared to present to us to review and make a decision about participation. Facilities updates. We had strong facilities usage even through the summer. In July, there were 654 events held in our school buildings, which is significant even for the summer months. Work orders continued. We continue to monitor that and really appreciate the information that our F&O staff provides every month to just give us a window into how hard our facilities and operations staff are working, updates on staffing in that area. We heard updates on a number of the projects that have been going on over the summer, including asphalt and concrete work at Sunflower Elementary and Kennedy, construction of the preschool classroom spaces within Woodlawn and Sunflower, a fire suppression line repair that had to be completed emergently at LMCMS, building exterior repairs at Billy Mills, New York, and Kennedy, new casework installed at Schwegler, and new playground equipment that was installed at Sunflower and Deerfield over the summer. We also discussed the process that's ongoing for acquisition of a replacement chiller for LHS, and we previewed the Esports League information that we're going to hear more about here in a little bit in our board reports. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Kelly?
I have a question pertaining to negotiations. Do you want me to hold it till, do you want me to do it now?
Yeah, you can do it now.
So I was wondering as to the negotiations committee, just listening to the conversation, is it part of the discussion at the negotiations committee around whether we're moving from traditional base bargaining to interest-based bargaining? Because that would take some of this conversation where where we're here and listening, and then we would be able to have more dialogue, be able to ask more questions. So I'm wondering about that conversation, if that would be part
That
of.
has not come up.
Okay. So I guess I'm requesting that we determine what the negotiations approach will be because we're trying to wrap up we're a little behind because of the ESPs being recognized under the LEA.
Yep.
And so I would like to know or if we could have discussion about whether we're going to move to interest-based bargaining or not,
Okay.
with all of you.
Okay. You just want to start with board commentary, and we'll just come back down.
Sure. Try to be pretty brief tonight. Just a couple things to share. The State Board of Education did meet on August 12th and 13th, and as hoped for, they did finalize setting the new cut scores for the Kansas Assessment Program, the exam that was given this past spring. That allows everything to move forward with them releasing the scores to parents and also doing the crosswalking that they're talking about doing between the cut scores on the new exam and the cut scores on the previous version of the exam. It wasn't without a little bit of controversy. It did not pass unanimously. I thought it was really important that the question was asked of the commissioner, well, what would happen if the board didn't approve the cut scores? And the answer was basically that the department used a very thorough research-based and data-informed process to set those cut scores. And if the state board had chosen to not approve them, there wouldn't be another better process to go through. It would basically just be sitting around the table deciding what they wanted the scores to be. So I appreciated that the board ultimately decided to rely on the professional educators who participated in that data-informed and research-informed process to set those scores. And then the Education Funding Task Force did meet for a half day on August 13th and a full day on August 14th. I want to thank all of the school board members that I know around the state who came and attended those meetings, and as well as people who've been watching them online. I know that people have, and so I think that's been really important. We actually had a room full of board members, superintendents, special ed administrators, and teachers and retired teachers, even though it was the first week of school for almost every district in the state of Kansas. There were people who attended the full day and a half of those hearings to show support for our public schools. And I think it was really important because it resulted in a concession by the chair of the task force to actually engage with special education directors and professionals to gather their input on specifically what to do with the special education funding formula, because it's real clear that from the conversations that there is interest in doing something different than what we're currently doing in terms of structure. So Kansas is in the minority of states that uses a reimbursement model where we reimburse for staff that are hired and you don't actually know your funding until the very end of the year that you've just completed. So we're guessing. We think we have this much money to run our special ed program, but we don't actually find out how much money we actually have until the end of June every year. So there are a lot of other states that do a large variety of ways that are more like a student weighting model, which is what is in our foundation funding formula. How you do that and how you make that transition, I mean, the devil's going to be in the details, right? If we were to move as a state to that kind of model, it will really depend on how they want to structure it. They've talked about looking at states that have tiered models where they place levels of exceptionalities within different tiers and then assign them different funding weights. So there was a lot of discussion about that, and I did want to just share that there's pretty general agreement that whatever model that they move to does still need to account for being sustainable, equitable, and predictable in the special ed space, that it reflects actual costs and supports improving student outcomes, that it account for catastrophic aid, compliance costs, and the intensity of services that need to be provided, that it be indexed, that incorporates growth and is indexed to inflation as our foundation formula is. There are still a number of committee members who keep talking about tying funding to accountability measures, but it's really unclear what that means, especially in the special education space, because outcomes are individualized under IEP. So again, devil's going to be in the details of how this conversation moves forward, but it was encouraging that there was an acknowledgement that perhaps we need to have more professionals who actually work in this space informing the conversation. The next meeting is scheduled, they moved the schedule again for September. It's Wednesday, September 3rd and Thursday, September 4th. Full days, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. These are the last 2 days of the task force for 2025 that have been authorized to meet. There is some thought that the chair may ask for additional days from legislative leadership, but those have not been approved. So we think this might be the last meeting in September for this calendar year. And then they will pick back up again, meeting after the first of the year with a new chair, Representative Susan Estes, who this past session was the chair of the Kansas House Education Committee. So I just want to keep encouraging folks to stay engaged on this, pay attention, and I can provide recommendations for places to follow for information and updates as this work continues forward. Thank you.
It's curious that they agreed on accounting for the actual costs, as they've never done that.
It was a discussion point that there seemed to be, like, yeah, of course it should, but you're right, it's not, it doesn't align with what we've been experiencing. So, again, not sure where that conversation will go.
Okay, well, I have a request for Dr. Swift and GR that occurred to me while you were giving your presentation. I would be interested in touring the new early childhood education rooms when it's appropriate, and I'm imagining that my board colleagues would want to join me. So I would request that when they're settled and ready for a crew of us, that we be able to go see those classrooms.
Anything?
Just one thing, I did meet with Bob and Kelly. We met with the North group on Thursday, I think it was. So it was very interesting to meet with a totally different group of the community. I'm used to meeting with moms and dads and kids and stuff like that. So to be able to sit down and meet with grandparents and get their perspective on how the community is doing, how the school is doing, was totally different. It was refreshing and enlightening, and I would love to get an opportunity to sit down and meet with them again and see what else we can really learn from that group of individuals.
I'll just say, I wanted to add to that, one of the things that I think the community might be interested in knowing is they asked really caring, meaningful questions about immigrant students and their safety in our district, and you could tell that they weren't just asking questions about their own family based on what we know about them in terms of their roles and where they shared they worked, and that was a pretty powerful takeaway from me, so.
Not much, really just want to thank all of the educators and ESPs for all the hard work that they did getting ready for the school year. I'm sure that, like many other parents, I was very happy for my kids to go back to school, but also a little sad because I do enjoy having them around. And it's created new things to have issues with that are different from the summer. But really, Especially excited to see, or hear from some of my kids' teachers through Power School or emails, and really already digging in and taking an interest in really learning about the students so they can meet them on their level. And I think that's so great and so important. And so I just want to thank everybody for all of their hard work and their hard work that they continue to do. So.
Carol?
Thank you. Yes, on, let's see, was Friday, I went to the Watkins Museum to visit the traveling exhibit called The Americans. It is a traveling exhibit, and Lawrence was the first city to hold it in or host it in Kansas. It's developed by the Smithsonian National Museum of the American Indian, a museum on Main Street. The exhibit explores how American Indians have been part of the nation's nation's identity since before this country began. And I would encourage anybody and everybody to go visit the exhibit. It's on display until October 5th. And the Smithsonian National Museum of the American Indian is just one of 8 museums that has been listed as under orders of the current federal administration to comb through the exhibits and remove those that may be deemed controversial or divisive. So I would encourage everybody to go visit that museum and the exhibits, maybe while they're still there. Thank you.
All right.
GR, may I share, I forgot to mention this.
Yeah.
This rack card at your place was provided to Dr. Swift to share with the board, and it's provided because Lawrence is one of the districts that's featured in the Good News Stories. They did a story about our policy crafting process. I also wanted to just note for my board colleagues that right below Lawrence is my home district of Rollins County, which was featured due to the challenges that they have met in trying to recover from a fire that destroyed the district's only high school a couple of years ago. So, but there's a lot of really great stories about great things that are happening in public schools across the state, and so that's what this is for.
Thank you, Shannon. Okay. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are those that are considered routine and are adopted by one motion unless any board member or the superintendent requested an item be removed. The items removed are voted on separately. Can I get a motion for the consent agenda?
I move the Board of Education adopt the items listed on the consent agenda.
I second. This is Carol.
Kadir Blackwood,
Yes.
Costello,
Yes.
Franklin,
Yes.
Gordon Ross,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Kimball,
Yes.
Byers.
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Okay, we're now going to move on to report item 5.2, discussion on esports. Invite Dr. Engelbrick, Deputy Superintendent, Director of Facility and Operations, to come up and talk to us.
President Gordon Ross?
Yes.
I just want to thank Dr. Engelbrick for shepherding this new endeavor for us, and he knows more than the rest of us do. So I appreciate him walking us through some of what we've learned, and it seems like we're at a very preliminary stage. Yes, Dr.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes. President Gordon Ross, board members, Dr. Swift, Superintendent, thank you very much for this opportunity. I will tell you, in my opinion, you heard from two e-sport experts this evening, Eli and Travis. Now, my knowledge of esports compared to those young men is pretty minimal, and I will openly say that. I would also like to share that I think they're examples of the opportunities that esports provides to our students. When we look at districts across the nation whose activities associations have opened up esports, 47% of the students who participated in those other states in esports, it was the first time those students had ever participated in a school activity. The first time they truly began to make that positive connection with their school outside of the classroom. An incredible statistic, whether it be 100 students or 200 students or 300 students. That's important for us to keep in mind. As we go through this evening, I'll talk to a few key points. Our state associations informational meetings, I'll give you an overview of those. The fact that esports will be open to all students at our middle schools and high schools once approved and we register as participating schools. I'll review the seasons of competition and the estimated program costs. And I will tell you again, the experts on the estimated program costs, some of you in this room know them better than I, some of the people online, and I guarantee you the students who will participate will tell us you've forgotten something. But as in all activities and all sports that we start, we need to begin with a firm foundation. I'd also point out that esports is an activity. It took me a few weeks to get that through my head. Oh, this is not a sport, it's a competition, but it is an activity. Esports exists in two formats in our schools or will exist. In the past, it has been a club activity. In the future, it can be both a club activity, out of season, and during the season, a Keisha-sanctioned activity for participation. Our state association voted this summer of 2025 to officially sanction esports as an interscholastic activity beginning with this school year. To be pretty open, we thought this was going to be the following school year, so they surprised us a little bit. Our state association has partnered with Play VS, who is a nationally recognized esports competition platform. Importance there is multiple levels. A couple of them, though, is it ensures a fair playing platform and conditions. They guarantee the privacy of all students and all competitors is protected. They also, at least in the first year, will provide all fee coverage for access to the platforms that our students will need to participate. The State Association has scheduled 3 informational meetings to assist with the implementation and the startup of esports programs in member middle schools and high schools. The first meeting was last week, and it was Esports 101. We had participants from both Lawrence High School, Free State High School, from our central office, and I believe from LVS, didn't we? And from LVS, participating in that and learning what the state sees as the future possibility for esports. On September 15th, we will have a meeting that talks about the actual hardware requirements. I think we should think in terms of 2 levels of hardware requirements. The hardware that will be necessary for the students to be able to access and participate in the competitions, and then those special parts of the equipment, whether that be headphones, controllers, switches, and I understand there are a couple of different types of switches we can use there, gaming switches, and determining which of those that we will need. The actual numbers of the hardware requirements will be determined by the number of participants we have and how the coaches work that out. At this point, we do not have enough information to begin putting that portion of the costs together. I can tell you that the initial indications are the costs associated are manageable and are within reason. Also, by working with the Esports VS platform, they will be donating to each team the first switch that the team needs to participate. I do believe that we will have to purchase extra switches because we'll want to have more than just 3 students at a time on the platform practicing and improving their skills. And then October 23rd, game day preparation. I'm kind of interested in that one myself because I have no idea what all will be involved in that, but I think it will be very, very interesting.
Dr. Engelbrecht, can I
Yes.
interrupt you for a second and ask a question?
Yes.
As you're talking about some of those costs, can you clarify where the funds will come from for those costs?
I will go to Cindy Frick.
Okay.
We do have funds that are available that are not designated at this point, and we believe these will be very manageable. Some of this,
Where would those funds come from?
some of the,
Where would those funds come from?
some of them will come from the building's activities budgets. Some will have to come out of our general fund. If possible, we will pay for others out of our capital outlay.
Okay.
Did I answer that?
Yeah.
Okay. Seasons of competition, you'll see this is going rather quickly. Middle school and high school this year will actually have the same seasons of competition in that the preseason will be 2 weeks in length, will begin November 17th, and basically end December 1st when they begin their regular season of competition. I do not have dates for state competition or postseason competition. Those will be worked out, and we will be able to bring those to you later this fall. Interestingly, students must meet the same academic and eligibility standards as other state association activities. They will have to be students in good standing to be able to participate. And I believe I have covered many of these. Esports will require equipment specific to the activity. And what we knew of for sure this afternoon, we'll need to be looking at handsets, headsets, controllers, and/or consoles for the connectivity to the gaming platform. The annual licensing fee will be provided by the vendor the state is working with, at least during the first year. There may be travel costs. We're not sure how that will work out, if teams will be traveling during the season or postseason competition, but there would be possible travel costs, just like we have with our other activities. And a coaching stipend would need to be determined in line with our LEA agreement. This is different than the coaching stipend that we've been talking about recently that was for club esports, which was a club sponsor rather than a coaching sponsor. I would be glad to take down any questions, and if possible, I will answer them.
Ann?
So you kept mentioning Switch, and I assume you're referring to, is there switches, Nintendo switches? Or
I believe there
keyboard
are 3
switches?
switches, and I was going to stay out of the commercial names, but yes.
Yes.
Nintendo, Game Box, and, nope,
Just a Nintendo Switch.
Nintendo.
So is that the only then method? It's not like PlayStation or on gaming computers or anything?
I can get you that information and have that for you, to make sure that I don't tell you the wrong ones.
Okay, perfect.
We don't know yet. Kelly?
So this is a whole new world for me. And for me to be, the things that really speak to me are hearing the kids was helpful and how important it was for them to be engaged. It was helpful to hear from Carol in terms of and Ann about scholarships left on the table. And then the number of kids that you reported that this is the first time that they've been engaged in something. So from a social and emotional space, I tend to think like a lot of screen time's not so great for behavioral health, but I can see in this space where there is communication and relationship building, and then also just you're a part of something in the same way that we would see with other activities. So I can kind of see the benefits. But I'm trying to wrap my head around, for me, when this comes back up, I would really want to understand the financial commitment of the district, given some of our pressing responsibilities, particularly those pertaining to wages, which we just heard, and a couple of other areas that we've been working on. And so I heard you say that the costs will be pretty manageable, so I trust that to be the case, but it would be helpful for me to understand, as someone new to this, and I'll be doing my homework, for other sports or activities, we have a cycle in which we renew the equipment, but is this going to be more frequently? Are we going to need to be able to more frequently have this, and also the equity piece? So if you're a kid that has access to broadband or has access to equipment already, where does that put you in terms of making sure that you're included as well? So that would be another piece I would like to understand. So really the real cost, and it sounds like there's enough other states and other places we're doing this where we should be able to determine that, and then how we account for equity. I get that might have to do with like where this all takes place. And again, this is just really new to me, so I'm sorry that might be asking really basic questions that other people know, but that would be helpful to know when it comes back.
Thank you.
Are these teams gender-based at all?
I do not believe so. I think it's based upon the three students that want to work together and team up together and participate
So it's more
together.
skill-based?
Yeah.
Okay. My initial concern, actually, my only concern really comes down to the finance portion of it. I see it as an opportunity to again give kids who may never have been involved in school activities to now have another way to go. And I think that to me is very important. I do also would be interested in hearing more about if you are a child whose family cannot afford the equipment, how does that work and how do we cover? Cover for that is also important to me. But again, it still comes down to, I see this as a great opportunity for children. And it's an educational opportunity. I did some research today on opportunities in college and future careers, and was quite impressed with the sizable amount that kids could make in doing this. So in looking at all that, I think I'm just, like I say, it comes down to the finance issue and how it figures in our budget.
Carolyn.
Go ahead, yeah.
This is Carol. I had some trepidation about this because we were just gifted a book from some board members about it's called The Anxiety Nation, the yellow book that we read, and I read through it thoroughly, and I read through the DSM and the new updates, and I combed through other schools and states that do already have esports. And one of my findings was that Hawaii is one of the top-ranked states that has EA Sports. So in my mind, I'm already imagining Travis and Eli playing against kids from Hawaii. So I mean, it's a matter for me as a social worker. It's just the cost of doing nothing for those kids out there who don't get to have these opportunities, and the ones that came in tonight to speak at the board meeting. And I know that even me as a board member, I still get shaky. So I'm just proud of them for this is one of their first things that they've ever done in their high school career. Thank you.
Coming from a family that is already into the esports thing, so listening to my grandkids, yelling, screaming Mario Kart. I understand what everybody else is saying about the social emotional, but I see what my youngest grandson, the benefit of being in this, because he came in high strung and issues in school and stuff, and to hear the other kids from different states teach him how to calm down and tell him that he's doing a good job and just try this again or something like that when he gets frustrated when he can't pass a level. So I see some of the benefits that way. Because that was one thing we gifted my grandsons with, was the switches for school, for Christmas. So I'm with Kelly as well, for the kids that have already obtained the equipment. Are they able to get into this as well with already having the equipment? Also, if a parent has missed the first informational meeting, can we attend the second one?
The informational meetings were actually for district personnel with the state association.
Gotcha.
We have not had one for parents yet.
Perfect.
So, kind of the preliminary look at this, I was excited about the possibility of engaging a new set of students who might not already be engaged in the traditional activities that we provide. And the data that you cited, Dr. Engelbrick, in states that have expanded this, I can't think of another area where I have seen a stat like 47% of kids, it's their first time they've ever participated in a thing at school as part of a activities association sponsored act. That's remarkable. So if we could see that kind of engagement with our students, especially for those students who may right now not feel like they have that connection to school, I think it's really, really important to consider it, because that connection is what drives student achievement. Ultimately, they care about being here and they care about doing well, because it's the argument that people make about why do we have sports in schools? Well, it's because for some kids, that's the reason they come to school. And if we can reach a much larger group of kids and give them a reason to come to school and to achieve, I think that's really exciting. I really appreciated all the questions that Kelly asked and other board members have asked about the financing of it, because that certainly is a concern, or at least a question I have. I know this might be a difficult subject to talk about, but I know we have one sport that is going to end because the Sunflower League is ending it and we're not going to participate anymore. So I'd like to understand whether that then helps us start a new program, possibly. And then my final question would be, I have kids who game, but I don't really understand what esports, what it actually looks like for the kids that participate. So do you know if the platform has any educational videos for parents or board members or district staff to understand what this is and how they run it for kids, or if there's some, I appreciate it, and I'm going to check out the district that you mentioned, but if there's another district in Kansas that's already up and running that you might recommend that we look at their stuff that's out there just to better understand what this is and how it runs and what it looks like, that would be helpful for me to contextualize how we would have this exist in our district. I appreciate being open to new opportunities for our students by staff, and with the conversation at the facilities committee and then now at the board table. So thank you for bringing this to us.
So I definitely hear and understand everyone's concerns about how will we pay for it. But to me, the opportunity to reach this group of kids that have not been touched before is amazing. It's something that I think is so important. We do put a lot of emphasis on athletics and team building and all the benefits that come from that. And while this is obviously a different route, there are still those same benefits that can be gleaned from this. And just seeing my own kids and how it's impacted their lives in terms of their friendships that they've made with people, or just even the friendships with their fellow schoolmates. They're exchanging information and they're playing online and they're talking and having conversations. Whereas, when we think of gaming, when we grew up, it was kind of isolated and very much like you and the game itself, and maybe you had another person with you, but not likely. And these kids are able to talk to, multiple friends at once, all play together and strategize and really try to work together to accomplish things. And I just think the opportunity is so amazing, and it would be such a huge miss if we didn't go after it.
And this is Carol. I really like Travis's comment about his teammates when he said it keeps them hungry. And that is that engagement piece that I love.
Shannon?
Dr. Engelbrecht, given the timeline of the Acacia informational meetings and then the start of the season, do you have in mind a process by which this is going to come back to the board to approve adding it as a Acacia activity?
I think our first step is to go back and develop answers to the questions you've presented this evening. You need to have that information first. We will then really vet out the cost factor, and we're going to have to depend on some people other than those of us a little bit older than the esports group to find out what that really is. One of the things I am not sure of, but I believe to be correct on, these practices and sessions will take place at the school, not from home for the traditional school-based teams. So the equipment will be there, will be provided for all the students. We'll have to make a determination based upon the number of students participating and the amount of equipment that is provided. So we're going to have to get some rough numbers of how many students to anticipate. And then back to those major components. We know we'll have to have a switch for every 3 students. We know we're going to have the controllers, the headsets. And they can't be controllers or headsets that are not equal with what some of our students would bring from home, that may be more enhanced than what we would typically find off the shelf someplace.
What I would ask, when you come back with costs, if you could clearly define what bucket of money
Yes.
those costs will come from, so it's a better foundational start to the conversation as we talk about the total cost of the program, so we know if we're talking capital outlay, or we're talking general fund, or we're talking building activity funds, et cetera.
Question.
Kelly?
So since they started the activities in 2025, does that mean that there are other districts already doing this as part of Acacia?
No.
It's just starting this year as a
Okay.
Acacia sanctioned activity. This is the first year.
So there are districts doing,
Well, the season hasn't
the
started.
season hasn't started?
Started
Okay.
Our other districts.
Clubs,
Okay.
probably clubs.
Okay, they were okay. Because when I heard the kids talking, they mentioned that they would like to be able to participate. And so what is the timeline for the decision-making? That's my,
Well, we see the activities are beginning around that November timeline, it looked like. So we have just a little bit of time, but the starting gate opened for all districts just recently, so.
Okay.
It's fascinating.
okay. Thank you.
I think everyone thought it would be another year, but they approved it for now, so.
Because the timeline would include, because the season starts, but teams would like to practice, they'd like to figure out.
That's what I was trying to figure out, like if
Yeah,
the
so
season starts, you
the
still are
sooner we can
prepping?
do it, the better.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Would it be possible to at least
Okay, is that what happened?
start a questioning as to who would be interested, so you have an idea of number? So we can kind of get things moving.
Yes, we'll do as much preliminary work between now and our next board meeting that we can.
Okay with that.
Where we do not want to be is at a position where we would have students who want to participate and we weren't prepared to welcome them
Right.
into the team for participation.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else has anything? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Engelbert.
Thank you.
We're going to move on to item 5.3, back to school highlights.
Very good. Thank you, President Gordon Ross and members of the board, everyone who's joining us here in person and those joining remote. As we said earlier, we are on day 9 of this school year, and I know perhaps it seems like all couple thousand of our employees and 10,000 students just pop up and open school on day 1. It actually is much more complicated than that, and I appreciated the members of the board noting how hard our team has worked to be ready for it to look so easy to pop up on day 1. So again, a shout out to everyone who has been involved. We're just sharing some highlights because we could talk all day to try to work everything in. But I just want to thank everyone out there for a wonderful school opening. We've been focused on ensuring a warm welcome, classroom and school environments that are characterized by dignity. Dignity for everyone. And our opening day walkthroughs, opening week walkthroughs, we've seen exactly that. Warm welcomes, visible adults in the buildings, inclusive routines, strong student support. Our team already knows the names of their students. They are deep in the work, and it was really within the first couple of hours on day 1 that I said to teams as I saw them that it looked like they'd been in school for quite a while. I don't know how that happens except through the masterful work and sweat equity and a lot of care and deep passion for the work that we do. Part of that that we want to give a shout out to is our human resources team. None of us would be here in our spots without the support of HR. I did just a little bit of math with this list, and we'll update this presentation, but that list there represents 417 life changes that HR is on the other end of the phone. They're helping us with our fingerprints and with the TB tests and all of the myriad things that have to be done in every single one of those situations. I just went through it a year ago, and I can say from personal experience that our HR team approaches every single one of these 417 events, life events, with a great deal of compassion and care, professionalism, and positivity. In addition, if we didn't have enough excitement, it's benefits and open enrollment time. All of that was due right at the same time that the school year started. So you can see there the amazing numbers of open enrollment supports. Our team, in addition, is supported with FMLA requests, phone calls, licensure questions, application support, orientation paperwork, and more. I lost count of the number of orientations. I wanted to try to attend everyone, and I found it was impossible. I don't know how they kept it all straight, but our team is on its way. I wanted to begin with early childhood. You guys have heard us talk a lot about preschool. Make no mistake, it is an equity strategy at its heart. It gets right at the root of family and child and community and our classrooms. I appreciated this year that we were able to open two new preschool classrooms at Sunflower and Woodlawn. I got to see the great teacher and paraeducator over at Woodlawn just a couple of days ago, where they're building, a shout out to Dr. Engelbrick and his team, they're building a portion of that classroom to make it nicer with a restroom with the tiny, facilities and everything that fits them. All of that is going in over at Woodlawn. Our teams are doing a great job. I just want to point out that increase in preschool students makes us up by 43 students at preschool this school year. So we're at about 263 early childhood students, and that's up from 220 last year. We know the research is strong of a lifetime of impact from quality early childhood education. I thank you, board, and our community for supporting that effort, and our team for all their hard work. Science classrooms are at the elementary. Our teachers have always done a great job with science instruction, and yet now we've made it where teachers can choose to specialize in science, and also our grade level teachers then have a little bit less on their plate. They have a lot to cover with students. The K-5 Science Special has launched district-wide. This ensures that every child engages in equitable, standards-aligned science exploration each week. Recently, when I asked an elementary classroom, as I often do, what was their favorite part of the school day this year, I loved that children yelled out, "Science." And that was a really exciting moment. Today, anecdotally, I appreciate Ms. Roberson bringing me the story. We received an update from an elementary school where a group of fourth grade boys requested to have lunch with their science teacher because they love science class so much. These are anecdotal reports, but they are good, positive signs, and a shout out to our elementary science teachers who are working to make that an engaging time of learning for our students. Just today, received this report on our bakery, our community connections at Pinckney. They have launched the bakery over at Pinckney. This new facility is now up and running, offering a fresh, healthy breakfast or lunch option in every school every day from the bakery. So it's really up and rolling. Since production began on August 13th, the bakery has created more than 16,000 items, including 2,600 blueberry scones. Those are getting rave reviews, I've heard, and cinnamon rolls, 5,500 brownies, and more than 3,300 dinner rolls and breadsticks each. The bakery bakes everything from scratch on site at Pinckney. The district has greater control that way over both taste and in guaranteeing the nutritional value. The bakery is committed to sourcing at least 50% of its grain from local farmers, and it will serve as a real-world learning laboratory for our students in the Community Transitions Program, CTRAN, over the coming months. There, our students will gain important job and cooking skills in a live working environment. Folks may have forgotten because it's been about a year, but launching this bakery project was supported originally by a $100,000 Resilient Foods Systems Infrastructure Grant from the Kansas Department of Agriculture. Those funds were used to purchase equipment to get the bakery up and running for the 25-26 school year. It seems like we should probably add that to our preschool and other places we have to go tour. Members, it seems like a great idea. I want to give a shout out to everyone who helped with the school supply drive. I was actually out in schools on the day that so many of the supplies just landed on schools, and I know it was a huge burden because the boxes were everywhere in the hallway, but I'm just delighted when we can do more so that our parents don't have that as a barrier and our students don't have it as a barrier to learning. And I appreciate all the leadership, Ms. Roberson, and all folks from everywhere, the foundation and all, to make that happen. Our teacher plan times at all 3 levels, I think we all know, but just reiterating, teachers now have both the personal plan time, which is so important to grading papers and doing all the things that need to be done, but now also a professional time for professional collaboration. I didn't take photos of the groups that I saw, but I really appreciated somebody sent this photo in from, I believe that's Prairie Park, where they were having a meeting on their second planning time. I believe that teachers and ESP can change the world for good through positively impacting the lives of children. That's our mission. I believe they can do double their effectiveness if we just give them the gift of time. And that's what the second planning does, and I'm very grateful for everyone who's working on that. Our data team wanted to give a shout out to our families. I know it's so hard to get all of the registration done, but we had 95% complete prior to the opening of school. And that made the start of school for our school teams so much easier when they weren't having to track down the missing paperwork and get things organized. So we really appreciate that work. Parent Square training, a shout out to our data team. James Polk leads that effort, and there's just a phenomenal team. I would like to call all of their names, but I'll not do it well. I'll promise to do that next time. Staff across all of our levels have received training focused on setting up notifications, office hours, messaging families and students, and creating posts and newsletters. You can see in your report, members, the actual number, 10,800 messages over the first 9 days of school. And to date, staff have shared 625 posts with our families. So it is working. I'm also very grateful for the ION analytics training. Elementary and secondary staff recently received training on this system. It is a data analysis platform. In the past, our team, if you can imagine how hard this is, had to go one place for some data and another place for other data. It was hard to get the full picture. With ION Analytics, they'll be able to get attendance, behavior, achievement, social, emotional. They'll be able to consolidate that information into one platform, making it easier and more efficient for staff to see the picture of how the student is doing. This allows our teams to focus more on the child and spend less time running around trying to connect all of the dots with the data. Of course, it'll take us a little bit. It's not perfect on day one, but I just appreciate everyone's efforts. Want to give a shout out to special education. They've just published a new and improved district special education handbook. Those kinds of things are not widely celebrated, but I, as superintendent, appreciate having the information together and clearly articulated. Also appreciate their work on emphasizing quality instruction to student needs, SDI, specially designed instruction. If you haven't seen it, please check out our opening page on the website. There's a first day photo gallery that I promise you will make you smile with all the beautiful photos of opening days. There are preschool slides that I couldn't see earlier, so very good. And back to school safety, we're sharing that video widely. I just appreciate all of the work on everyone's part to open this school year, and wanted to be sure, members, I'll be out at Rotary and at the Chamber and at a variety of locations. We'll streamline this presentation so that it fits into those luncheon meetings, but this is an exciting story to update our community on the work that we're doing. I would be remiss, and I was earlier, not to point out that Mr. Jake Potter, Executive Director of Communications, is joining us in person and is on our team now. We already have him busy working. He's in the back slaving there to get the media release out after this meeting tonight. So welcome to Executive Director Potter. Very good. We're happy to take questions. Our team is in the house, and they can help me if I miss any parts.
Kelly, do you have questions?
You go first.
I don't have a question, but I do have a congratulations and a big thank you. I'm a part of a few Lawrence Mommy Networks groups on Facebook, and they asked me before I came in to definitely thank anybody that was on the planning committee with the school supply list. They really thank you guys for all the dedication and the hard work you did, making their cost for school supplies a lot less this year than it was last year. So when they look, they go I got so many messages, they thought they had downloaded the wrong school supply list because it wasn't as long. And so I told them, no, it's been a team that is working very hard to make sure that that was one less thing that the families had to worry about this year. So they wanted me to tell you guys, thank you for helping them with school supplies this year.
I thought that was amazing. I loved it. I loved that we got that down. I have a question about the special education handbook. Is that handbook for staff or is that for families?
I appreciate that question. I'm going to defer to our expert, Ms. Lori Stitham.
Staff, okay.
It is for staff.
And that is available on the district web? Can the board look at it, is my question.
We absolutely will make that happen.
That would be great, thank you. All right. And in particular, I'm interested in the whole handbook. I don't know. I really am interested in the handbook. And then also I'd like to see the social work components of it professionally. I'd like to see how that plays out. And then I have a question about enrollment. So the slide highlighting the 95%, trying to see where that was at. That's impressive. I don't know if that, anyway, what I wanted to talk a bit about was the enrollment process itself. One of the things that we've recently learned, and Shannon's been working for several years on ensuring that vouchers don't become real in Kansas, but with the recent passage at the federal level of some legislation that might make that easier, unfortunately, and you can speak to it in more detail than I. But one of the things that I've done to educate myself is read a little bit about why parents might make a selection outside of public education. And one of the key findings was pertaining to choice, being able to direct in some regard, like which building a person is in. And so I wondered about the transfer process, and I don't expect an answer to that right now because I am springing it on you. But I did wonder about the ways in which the district can increase family choice to enhance or prepare for what might be vouchers coming our way in the next couple of years. So I know you've talked about that in the past, but it is something that I have interest in, and the enrollment slide made me think about that. So appreciate it.
Thank you, and we look forward to bringing the transfer data forward this fall, and then also the steps that we're taking so that our families, the state gives any family in the state choice. So we certainly owe that to our own attendees. Yes.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you, Dr. Swift.
Thank you.
Someone read the public comment statement for me, please.
I'd be happy to do that, Mr. President. The USD 497 Board of Education welcomes public comments and thanks you for taking time to talk to us about our policies and procedures. We set aside this time during our regular public meetings to hear from the public. Patrons who wish to participate in public comment must email publiccomment@usd497.org by noon on the day of the board meeting to participate in person. Information provided will make it possible for district staff or the board to follow up with you as necessary. This is your time to share your opinions. However, public comment is not the appropriate forum for making complaints about specific staff or students. If your comments relate to complaints concerning staff, students, such complaints must be addressed to district staff as provided under board policies KN and GAE, general complaints and personnel complaints. The board president or presiding officer of the meeting may direct that a public comment request be redirected to staff to comply with board policy, including and/or to protect the privacy of individual staff or students. If you need assistance in sharing a complaint or concern with district staff, please let the board clerk or other district staff know. Topics discussed in public comment shall be germane to the business of the board. Furthermore, comments must comply with standards laid out in Board Policy GAAE and Board Policy JGECA, anti-bullying and hazing of staff and students. Comments or acts that are threatening to staff, the board, or others in attendance, including the use of language or behavior that is disruptive of the board meeting, will not be permitted during public comment. In addition, because students may be in attendance or watching online, members of the public will refrain from using foul or obscene language. The district assumes no responsibility or liability for the information shared during public comment. The views expressed are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Lawrence Public Schools. The board president or presiding officer will invite comment on topics not included on the meeting agenda at the beginning or the end of each meeting. Comments relating to agenda items are welcomed after the board has had the opportunity to discuss the topic. Limit your comments to 3 minutes. Patrons who are unable to comply with the above procedures may email their comments or viewpoints to the board at schoolboard@usd497.org.
Thank you, Shannon. We'll start with Michael. Michael, are you there?
Hello, it would be nice if I was able to be heard.
We can hear you.
You wouldn't believe the kind of stuff we have to go through to get audible on your WebEx. It's nice to see you guys acknowledging the fact that money's an issue. It's too bad that you and the teachers you've hired will end up costing us so much more. But I digress. Your superintendent sent me an email after I had registered for public comment. I hadn't really seen the superintendent butt into those standard emails before, but she sent me an email, and part of what she said was also, I'm advising you tonight we will have students joining the meeting in the WebEx room who will be speaking about their student experience in the district. I am requesting that you please refrain from creating a harassing environment there for them by writing inappropriate messages in the chat. So, I got to thinking about that email after she sent it to me, and the questions that came to mind were inappropriate, harassing. So I asked her, you mean like books in the district that describe fisting a teenage female's vagina while she's on her menstrual cycle? And I told her I could remain well within that threshold set by you in the district. But my real question to her is, which students are you trying to protect? Is it the elementary students that this district gave to Mark Gridley to abuse? Or is it the middle school and junior high kids that Patrick Naughton was placed with, again, by this school district? Maybe it was Nick Burgoon, the first of these three that you knew about. The one you let quietly go away so he could, end up in charge of children in another school? It's obvious that Baker University had little knowledge of this when they hired him, given the speed in which he left. This is the fucking problem with you people.
That's your warning, Michael.
You want to have the false narratives carry the fucking day.
Thank you,
As
Michael.
long as I'm alive in this town, that will not fucking happen.
We're going to move on to Justin.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, my name is Dr. Justin Spees. You guys have an unconstitutional speaking policy here during your meetings that says no foul language can be used while speaking during public comment, and we saw that in action just right there when you removed Michael. But last meeting, you allowed a book from your school district libraries to be read that graphically and inappropriately described an obscene sex act that is disgustingly called fisting. I can't think of anything more foul and obscene than what was read last meeting from that book that, again, is available to your students in your school district libraries. You repeatedly remove me and Michael and Carrie for saying cuss words here during public comment because you say students might be listening and in attendance. So you therefore claim you need to protect their ears from foul language. But if that really is the case, if that really is your reason, then why do you allow books about fisting in your school libraries? And why did you allow that book about fisting to be read here during public comment? How do you square that circle? How could you possibly justify that? But since you do allow books to be read here without removing speakers, I want to read from a book I came across. It goes, J-Hop and Donnie flew down the side street, every now and then looking back for the pursuing patrol cars that alerted the neighborhood to their presence. Fuck, they see us, J-Hop shouted. Fuck those pigs, man, keep going, Donnie said back. Just ahead, a second patrol car turned onto the side street, preventing the fugitives from fleeing any further. Now fully aware their run was over, J-Hop and Donnie put their hands up. Jumping out of the patrol car, the officer screamed, "You're under arrest by the authority of that bitch Kelly Jones and that dipshit Gordon Ross."
Thank you, Justin.
I made that story up, so since it's not an actual book.
We'll go to Carrie.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay. All right, board members, I have a question for you tonight after I read from 2 Colleen Hoover books. So please listen closely to its content. People at home know that this content is sexually explicit and contains words that this board deems obscene if anyone were to say it outside from reading it from a book. The first book I am reading is titled, Maybe Not. I reach down to her thighs and spread her legs with my hand. I keep my eyes focused on her anyway, as I slowly push 2 fingers inside of her, waiting for her to moan into her pillow. She doesn't make a sound, so I pull them out and re-enter her with 3 fingers this time. She pulls at my hair and spreads her legs for me, wanting me to bury myself inside of her. I do. I push her panties aside and shove her into her so hard and fast she lets out a moan. I take one of her breasts in my hands and bring it to my mouth. I slowly kiss my way down her stomach. Fuck, woman. I smile triumphantly and press my lips into her stomach again. I start just below her belly button and trail slow kisses all the way down until I meet her panties. I hook my fingers into the waistband and pull them down. I lift her leg and press a soft kiss against her ankle, then her calf, then inside her knee, repeating the kisses all the way up her thigh. My tongue slides against her, separating her. My fingers find their way back inside her. I am feeling her, consuming her with my tongue, and she's taking every ounce of me she can get. Now she's pressing my face into her, begging me to go faster. Her hands leave my hair and meet her headboard as she grips it tightly and locks her legs around my shoulders. I keep my fingers very inside of her as she cries out my name with each tremor that rocks her body. I kiss the inside of her thighs as I pull my fingers out of her. The next book I'm going to read from is titled 2 More Days. Instead of serving the populace, you're going to be serving my vagina. I could have really been bad and said pussy rather than vagina. Stewart's hand left my breast and slid down my abdomen to unbutton my dress pants. When his hands dipped into the waistband of my panties, I sucked in a breath. As he slid his fingers against my clit, he said, you're soaked. Arching against his hand, I murmured, please, please, what? Make me come. Stewart's answer was to slip not just one but 2 fingers deep inside me. As he pumped them in and out, I began frantically moving my hips. I panted and moaned as I worked towards coming. When Stewart pushed in a finger a 3rd time and swirled them on my G-spot, I came undone. Holy shit, fuck yeah. Board members, now onto my question I have for you. Which Colleen Hoover book that I just read from is in your district? As a hint, the book maybe not says ass 27 times, fuck 29 times, piss 11 times, and bitch 7 times. The book 2 more.
So we'll move on to in-person public comment. So we have 3 people in person, so we'll start with Noel Jackson.
Hello, I'm Dr. Noel Jackson. Good news and bad news.
If you'll wait just a second so he can get the timer started. Okay, he'll start it.
Great. Good news and bad news. I'm not here to discuss sexual books, and I found the last comments, all of them disgusting. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to complain about the fact that you guys are not meeting our students' needs in very basic ways, and that I see not a single one of you doing a single thing about it. That's why I'm here. Specifically, I'm here today mostly to talk to you about our school bus driver shortage. The fact that it's harming our students, harming our families has been going on for at least 5 years, and none of you have done one thing to address it. Also, that's what I came here to talk about. I have a lot of complaints against this district. Dr. Swift is aware of at least a few of them, so is Dr. Engelbrick. I don't have time to discuss them all today. But while I was sitting here in this meeting, I heard comments from one of our hardworking paras over there, who told us that she's not making a living wage and can't afford food or to clothe her children. She is one of those people working with students like mine, I'm a SPED parent, every single day. We hire one of those paras to babysit for our family, and we pay her more to babysit one child in our home than you all pay her as a para in your schools. It's embarrassing. Dr. Swift is making over $200,000. Many people in this building, many of them are making over $100,000. Dr. Swift herself makes more than twice my salary as a professor at KU, and yet you can't pay your paras a living wage. You don't pay your bus drivers enough for people to take the jobs. You don't have enough bus drivers to bus your children to school, and you're not even busing most of your children to school because of the 2.5-mile rule, which, by the way, is ridiculous, unfair to families, creates a traffic problem in Lawrence every day, and none of you seem to care. While I'm at it, Ms. Kimball, your comments about funding for SPED I found borderline offensive. I would like to remind you all that your obligations towards SPED students are to meet all of their needs and to allow them to reach their highest potential academically and in the specials that you offer. Those are your obligations. I didn't mention money when I talked about those obligations. Those are your obligations. Your job is to find the money to meet those obligations, not to find the money and then ask how many of those obligations can you meet. That is the wrong order. Your job is to say, these are our students' needs, these are our obligations, and where will we find the money? Your students need bus drivers. You don't have them. What are you going to do about it? You haven't had enough bus drivers to drive the children to school that you are legally obligated to drive to school on the first day of the school year for the last 5 school years running. I don't know about before the pandemic because I moved here in 2020. For all I know, this has been a problem for decades. I only know that it's been a problem since 2021, and it's far from the only problem I've had in this district. My school bus, my daughter's school bus has a substitute driver. I'm not okay with this. What are you going to do to fix it? And I mean now, today. You don't have enough drivers. Pay them more and hire more drivers. Reduce your administrator salaries to do it, and do it now.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. We'll then move on to Sarah.
My name is Sarah Cillian. I have been a district employee since 2013. I have seen the district go from elementary teachers applying to pilot the blended learning classrooms to the recent charge to reduce or eliminate the use of iPads at the elementary level. It is our job as educators to teach our students that iPads are a tool at school and not a toy. Lately, I've heard multiple concerns about the changes in iPad use. There are questions such as how will we use IXL? This is a supplemental evidence-based math resource provided by the Kansas State Department of Education at no cost to the district that offers personalized learning. One piece that I have seen in action is the practice of basic math facts, think like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, to automaticity. I'm a title teacher and can assure you that our assessment data shows that our students need intervention in this area. Students can spend a mere 3 minutes a day practicing this skill on their iPad, or I could take over 75 minutes a day practicing with each student in a class of 25. Another concern has been related to our UDL, Universal Design for Learning. Currently, we have students using features such as text-to-speech so they can access the Tier 1 grade-level content that they may not be able to independently read. Limiting the use of technology to those with an IEP could prevent other students from also getting what they need. iPads at school, it's a tool. Evaluations. Teachers are evaluated using the Danielson framework for teaching. There are 4 constructs with rubric scores that go from targeted up to distinguished. I found at least 3 domains under which educators could be affected by the new policies, and in the interest of time, I'm only going to list them. 1.4, demonstrating knowledge of resources, 1.6, designing student assessments, and 2.5, organizing physical space. We are as expected as educators to use digital resources. The UFly program is a new addition to our Tier 1 phonics instruction this year. Like Open Up Math, these resources are based online. In previous years, we have been directed to use the sample questions available via the KITE testing site to create questions that we can use in classrooms as exit tickets for knowledge checks and to acclimate kids to the question format. In the past, I have witnessed kids who are unfamiliar with how to take these high-stakes assessments struggle to manipulate items on the test, like if you have to drag something or match it up, which then leads to students not being able to show what they know. We do our students a disservice by not giving them multiple opportunities to use technology and overcome any test anxiety related to not knowing what they're being asked to do. At the state and national levels, we have we have resolutions for ANEA. I'm going to try to be really fast. And these are statements that are created and voted on. So there are different things in there which I can share with you again later. C1.6, technology in the educational process. KNEA believes that the technology in the educational process improves learning opportunities for students, quality of instruction, effectiveness of education employees. It also talks about that having teachers and educators be involved with the decisions of what's going to be used, how it's going to be used, and I'm going to be out of time. So as long as you can just keep including us, I can't get it all in today, but we just want to show that kids that iPads can be a tool. So.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
Final public comment is Lori.
Good evening. I am Lori Greenfield. My pronouns are she, her. Speaking as an individual, I've been a Lawrence resident since 1990, a mom of 3 LPS graduates from Prairie Park, Southwest, and Lawrence High, and a proud public school educator for 30 years. Over the past several years, I have grown increasingly concerned of our district's approach to technology decisions. Too often, it feels like choices are made hastily without considering unintended consequences for students and educators. When my career began, classrooms had overhead projectors and cassette tape recorders. Over the years, we moved to computer labs, then laptops, then one-on-one iPads. At the best, these transitions were paired with professional development and collaboration, which gave teachers the tools to use the technology in ways that deepened the learning. COVID pushed all of us to rethink how we educate. Many powerful digital tools emerged to support students. With thoughtful training and innovation, technology can save valuable class time, especially as class sizes grow. Unfortunately, instead of moving forward, I've watched Lawrence Public Schools step backwards. We replace interactive smartboards with TVs, losing technology opportunities for engagement and collaboration. We reduce student access to meaningful digital tools, rather than expanding it. Meanwhile, technology is embedded in our state's college and career-ready standards in library and informational literacy and in computer science. National and state standards for education prep programs also emphasize that educators must be able to integrate technology effectively to support diverse learners and improve outcomes. Digital literacy, critical thinking, and responsive citizenship are not optional. They are essential for students' success in the world that they are entering. As a district, we should be preparing students for these essential skills and equipping educators with the training and resources to use technology effectively. That means building a clear technology vision shaped with educator input. And it means recognizing that technology should never replace educators, but instead enhance the quality of teaching and expand the learning opportunities we provide students. Why do I come here before you? Because our students deserve a future-ready education, not a step back in time. I urge the board to prioritize a thoughtful technology plan, one that includes educator voice. We cannot prepare our students for tomorrow with yesterday's tools.
Thank you, Lori. I have one announcement. So just general information for the public, over the last week or so, it was brought to our attention that on October 13th, several board members and possibly Dr. Swift were going to be out of town or unavailable. That's the first board meeting in October, so we're looking to move that board meeting to a different day. We don't know what day yet, so just watch that. We'll make sure we let everybody know and notice that appropriately, but just to put that out there. That's all I had. Dr. Swift, do you have anything?
I believe we're good.
Okay.
Thanks.
Anybody else have anything? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.